Okay, so the header is ready. Let's switch to different parts of the layout. If you see on the layout here, we have the full row of the list, so we can skip it for now because it's just the full width and we don't have any columns and we don't share this section between two elements, so it's okay for now. And we're in the projects now, so we see that we have two columns again. So we need to do the same. We need to apply the container row and class called column call sm. So we're in the project one, we have the whole section. We apply the container, we have the row. So I have the left column here. I'll have the right column, so I'm writing right column. I'll make more space for easier to read. So I have the right column and apply call sm class. So I have the div. So I have, let's do the intersection. So I did the indentation, my code looks cleaner, and let's see. So this is the beginning of the right column, it closes here. This is the beginning of the left column, closes here. Almost there. We need to close row. You can see that it's not underlined by the blue line, so it gives us the information. Atom gives us the information that this tag, this div, is not closed. So let's close it under the right column. Okay, now it's correct, and you also need to close the container div. So right here, I'll do the indentation. All right, once more, and our code looks good now. So we've got left, right column. Let's save it and see. So I'm back in the browser, refreshing the page, and see that the image is in the left column and all the text are in the right. So it slowly reminds us of the layout that we're aiming at. Okay, so let's put more content of the projects into columns. We do it exactly the same. So I'll reuse these lines of code and paste it here. I'm closing the div for the left column. All right. I need to add the next column. So the image with the caption. So this is going to be, if you can see, this is going to be our right column. All right. So closing the div, indentation, and of course we need to double close div. So for row and container. And if we see, container is closed, row is closed, and we've got two columns. So what you need to remember about this classes from Grid Bootstrap is that row is only to use to keep columns, so we don't use it anywhere else. If we just want to display columns near each other, we'll use row, and this is the only situation. Container helps us to keep some certain width of the page. Okay, saving. I switch to the browser and I see that the second project is within two columns. All right, so we have the last one, the last project. And again, we can reuse the code we have. This is project 3. So on the left side column, we've got the image. All right. And of course, we need the right side column, right column, comment, pasting it. And of course, we need to close the right column. The left is already closed. We can do the indentation, and of course, closing container row. Sorry, now we have to close the row because it's the child of a container. So we're closing row, and here we're closing the container. All right, let me quickly check if we're fine. Here we can only add that this is right column. All right, saving, refreshing, and I see that I have sections with columns, and it reminds us slowly of the layout. If you want to check how 3 columns would look like, you can do the test. So in the very last project, I can copy the right column and simply duplicate it. And what I expect from Bootstrap is to display 3 columns near each other. And I have 3 columns. So it's very easy later on to multiply. And these 3 columns are the same size, the same width. They're divided. If you would like to change the proportions, for instance, have the photo bigger, let's see in the documentation of Bootstrap. We're scrolling to the part where we have different width. So, for instance, here, one column is wider and the other are narrow. So here we apply a certain proportion. So we've got, imagine that we have 12 small columns and we just merge them in order to make the column bigger. So if I would like to have my column to actually take the half of the available space, I'm writing 6 because 6 to 12 is the half. So if I would like to apply this on my image here in the third project, so for the photo, I write here col 6, and the other would automatically take available space, what's left. So they will divide the half of the whole container to those 2 columns. I'm refreshing the website and see that my image is 2 times bigger than its fellows columns. For footer, we're okay for now with that because footer doesn't use 2 columns. It's just like a 1 column a piece of layout, 1 column element of layout. So we're almost ready with aligning the elements. There are some tweaks that needs to be needed, but for now let's stop with Bootstrap Grid. If you're eager to find out more about Bootstrap Grid, I strongly recommend you to check out the documentation. There are many examples how you can create different widths of the column, how you can stack them to horizontal mode, and finally how to work on the responsive side of the grid.